very partial.
I think it's really important to us that the Attorney General be independent of the White House. And you have a president-elect who considers the AG's office his law firm.
Hirano asked if Bondi would prosecute a perceived enemy of the president if she were ordered to do so. Bernie Bennett, Capitol Hill.
Firefighters reported significant gains against the two massive wildfires burning around Los Angeles, while also extinguishing smaller blazes set by arsonists. The progress was reported Wednesday as a final round of windy flame fanning weather moved through Southern California. On Wall Street, a good day as the Dow was up by 703 points. The Nasdaq rose 466. More at townhall.com.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free, too, with their 3-week Quick Start Kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Madame Giselle senses a change in your future.
Is it a promotion?
I see a door opening.
Ooh, to a corner office?
There's a creature. Beady eyes, lots of hair.
Is it my boss, Dave?
No, raccoons everywhere. Your RV door is open, and they're chewing everything.
Not a problem. I'm covered by Progressive. Do you see a bigger paycheck?
Customize your coverage with Progressive's Pest Damage Protection and be prepared for the unexpected. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pest Damage Protection available for RVs less than 6 years old. $250 deductible applies to any claim.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with every...
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks close higher after an encouraging update on U.S. inflation. The S&P 500 jumped 1.8% for its best day in 2 months. The Dow climbed 1.7%, and the Nasdaq Composite gained 2.5%. Strong profit reports from the biggest U.S. banks also helped launch indexes. Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and Goldman Sachs helped lead the way. Treasury yields eased in the bond market on hopes that Wednesday's inflation report could help convince the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates further later this year. European stocks rallied, while Asian markets were more subdued. The Dow was up 703 points to close at 43,221. The Nasdaq gained 466 points to 19,511. The S&P 500 added 107 points to 59.49. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature dipping down to 28. Tomorrow, another great-looking day. Lots of sunshine, the high climbing to 57. And on Friday, just as nice, 59 is our high. Well, that changes on Saturday. Heavy rain is expected throughout the day. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
The Point. The Point. The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And welcome into Sports Talk, everybody, on this Wednesday night. It is so good to have you with us here on Sports Talk. We got a dynamite show for you. For those of you catching us over one of our stations tonight, or perhaps you're catching us on a stream, welcome, welcome, welcome. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Josh Cohen. The phone number, 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you to reach us. And don't forget, you can also get us on our text line. That phone number is 803-900-4847. 803, might have said that a little bit quick for some of you. 803-900-4847 is how you can reach us that way. We'll read your notes, your texts. We'll read your texts, your notes off the streams as well. Made the way up to Clemson. Quick trip, 1:30 press conference. So had to get up there, had to take it all in, and had to get on back to be here in time for the show. By the way, we'll be in Greenville tomorrow night at the Hyatt in downtown Greenville. South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association, led by Scott Early, has got a major event taking place related to their fight against drug usage and drug abuse in South Carolina. And we'll be there as part of that and have some great guests for you tomorrow night. But that's tomorrow night. Tonight, back here in Columbia. So up to Clemson for the press conference for the new defensive coordinator, Tom Allen. And we'll let you hear Dabo Sweeney's opening comments and some opening comments from Coach Allen as well. We'll talk about all that and what he means to Clemson. Meantime, South Carolina and Vanderbilt underway in their game in Nashville. Again, for the, I guess for only TV purposes, they're playing the game at 5 o'clock in Nashville and 6 o'clock here in the East. South Carolina's out to a 4-2 lead, 16:32 to play in the first half. Clemson last night pretty much controlled the entire game against Georgia Tech. Tigers never trailed. Georgia Tech got off to a horrendous start, missed their first 10 shots. Clemson built an early lead, and then second half, never let Tech within 9. We'll hear from Brad Brownell and Brooks Thomason, who covered the game for us in Atlanta. He'll join us in a few minutes to talk more about what he saw from the Tigers last night. All right, so there we go. Chris Bergen, what is on your mind tonight as we roll into a busy edition of Sports Talk?
Good win by Clemson last night, one they had to have, and you could have stopped by just saying Georgia Tech is horrendous. You didn't need a horrendous start. They're just bad. And that was a game Clemson had to go in and take control and win, and I thought they did a really, really good job of it. And when you have Chase Hunter filling up the stat sheet, though, he didn't really have to do it all. It was Jaden Zachary last night. Placing 4 players in double figures. I just thought Clemson, every time Georgia Tech would try and get back in the game, even after that sluggish start, Clemson was right there to push out the lead and did what you had to do. Now South Carolina's got to do the same thing tonight. This is the game the Gamecocks, and I'm sure Vanderbilt's thinking the same thing. Hey, we've got an 0-3 USC team in here on our home floor where only Mississippi State has beaten us this year. We should be able to win this game. South Carolina's got to win this game, or it could really start to spiral out of control considering what's still ahead for them in SEC play. So this is a must-win, much like Clemson, not in that same boat. But Clemson could ill afford to have lost last night, and to their credit, they didn't. And took full advantage of a game they had to win, and now they get ready to go to a really tough place to play this weekend at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, big game for two teams trying to keep up with Duke, primarily in the ACC. As far as the Carolina game goes right now, it's 6-4 at the media timeout. Of course, the Gamecocks they're shorthanded. They're down 2 starters. They started Davis and Pringle and Ugasuk and Wright. Wright's come out and Conyers has come in, so they've got the tall lineup in there. The one that looked so good the other day. Let's see how it does and how long they stick with it. Conyers just going in a few minutes ago. If he's able to knock down some outside shots, that would be huge. Murray Boyles has got, for the Gamecocks, 6 points on 2 of 3 shooting. He's got a couple of rebounds. So the good sign, and we don't have it on our screens here, our big 68-inch television screens that encircle us here inside our plush Sports Talk studios here at the Point Radio Broadcast Center. Anyway, where was I? I'm not able to see the game, but I would imagine that an active Murray Boyles, that's a good thing for South Carolina, and he appears to be pretty active here early on.
He's already got a dunk in the ball game on a nice fast break by the Gamecocks. But you talked about the big lineup that they're playing right now that they've started the ball game with. I don't know that Lamont Paris has another option, Phil. With Studi out and Jamari Thomas not available, he doesn't have a whole lot of options in the perimeter. And if he's not comfortable, as you stressed last night, you don't believe Cam Scott's ready. So if that's the case, then I think you have to go big and play Pringle and Murray Boyles on the floor at the same time as much as you can, and try and eat up space and rebound the basketball. And Colin Murray Boyles has proven that he can get out and run the floor too, which is a big plus for them. So I think this big lineup is probably something you're going to see until they start getting some healthy guys in the backcourt.
I agree. And if Conyers is making threes, that makes them I mean, they need somebody like him. They need a big guy who can stand out and hit threes and open things up for Murray Boyles inside. That will drag the defense out a little bit more. 6-6 now, Vanderbilt has scored coming out of the timeout. As far as Clemson last night, we talked about it to open the show and kind of how the Tigers looked. And, again, the quick start for them, that was big. You mentioned Hunter. He was outstanding. I mean, they really got a good balanced showing for them offensively. They got contributions from a bunch of different people. Wiggins hit some big shots for them. I think what I really liked, now Georgia Tech was playing shorthanded as well. They were down, I think maybe three primary players for them. They were down.
They were all sitting beside one another on the bench.
Yeah. But then again, Clemson's not healthy. It's like football coaches say, who's healthy this time of the year? Clemson's not healthy either because – you've got Shefflin playing with a bad calf and a bad back. So you can tell they are pulling him out to give him some rest and putting him back in. Yet he was still very effective last night. He
look at
did
his line,
his thing.
Phil. I mean, led them in assists last night, led them in steals. This is a guy who's supposed to be your post player and also led them as he usually does in rebounding. I mean, even with a bad back, bad calf, whatever the case may be, he is going to give you quality minutes when he's on the floor.
He's got both of them. He's got a bad calf and a bad back. He played 36 minutes last night, had 16 points and 7 rebounds, so he got a good performance out of him. You mentioned Zachary had 21 points. He had 6 rebounds. He really played well last night. And Chase Hunter had 14 points and 3 assists. Victor Locken gave him 10 points and gave them 6 rebounds. So the Tigers are 14-4. They are 6-1. The only thing that you would say that's negative about them at this point is they just don't have many quality wins. That's why their net ranking, as we look at tonight, coming off that win last night, they were 38 going in. They moved up to 36. They are 1-2. They've only played 3 Q1 games, and they're 1-2. They've got 3 wins against Q2 teams, and then a total of 10 wins against Q3 and Q4. So they need to pick up some quality wins somewhere down the road. They're going to go to Pittsburgh this weekend. That's going to be a huge game against the Panthers, who I believe are playing tonight. And Pittsburgh is like right around the same spot as Clemson in the net ranking, I believe. So if the Tigers could pick up a win, let me see where they are, see where that would fall into. Pittsburgh is 28, so this would be a Q1 win if they could get one on the road. They're 12-4 going into tonight's game, and they've got a couple of Q1 wins. So Pittsburgh and Louisville and Clemson right now, you would say, and I guess you got to throw North Carolina in there. You can't ever forget North Carolina. They seem to be the strongest contenders when it comes to taking on Duke. Duke right now looks to be the cream of the crop in the ACC.
No, there's no question. They are far and away the best team in the ACC, and that's Clemson's problem, is they're not going to have a whole lot of opportunities, and that's why the Pittsburgh game is going to be so important. They can't afford to drop a game like last night. They had to take care of business against Georgia Tech, and they did. Now you get an opportunity to go on the road and pick up a quality win. They need to pick these type games off because, unfortunately for them, their conference schedule is not going to buoy them all that much, just because the ACC is, historically bad, I think, overall this year in particular, because it's unusual to see the ACC as down as it has been the past couple of seasons. Even North Carolina, not a team that scares you when they come into Little John in February. And how about the job, you mentioned Louisville, how about the job Pat Kelsey is doing at Louisville, considering where they were when he took over? I mean, to me, he's front runner for ACC Coach of the Year.
No question. He's got them 13-5 and 6-1. But imagine this. Who would have thought this? So with Notre Dame playing in the ACC for basketball, that gives you, in ACC play, that gives you 18 teams. You got 18 teams in ACC play. And of those 18 teams, right now, half of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 8 of them have overall losing records.
That's crazy.
Overall losing records in the ACC. 8 of the 18 teams are in that are in that category. I mean, this is the ACC. The ACC right now is Duke, Clemson, Louisville. I'm not sure Wake Forest is for real. They're right now 4-1 in the league. We'll see if they have any hang time there. North Carolina and Pittsburgh. And then, I mean, that's your top group. That's your top 6. And then you've got SMU and Stanford, and then Florida State and NC State. But these are teams, when you get to NC State, that's your last team with a winning record. They're 9-7 overall, 2-3 in the ACC. Barely lost to North Carolina over the weekend. So, I mean, has the ACC just slipped off the cliff in basketball as well, so that they are – I mean, the magical matchups of the days of the ACC, the can't-miss games, they're not there anymore. It's all in the SEC.
Yeah, it really is. And it's fascinating, though. You watch, and this will happen. Keep an eye on when the tournament rolls around. The ACC will find a way to get 2 or 3 teams either into the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, like they did last year, and heck, have a team like NC State, who had no business being in the tournament until they won the ACC tournament, go all the way to the Final Four. So the ACC has figured out how to handle the postseason. What they can't do very well right now is the regular season.
South Carolina up 10-8, and Murray Boyle still on 4, but Ugasuk has got 5 points now. As he's gone to the bench, he's got 5 points. Bosmans Verdon, the next one in for South Carolina, Verdonk. Bosmans Verdonk. His K didn't make the screen. Bosmans Verdonk is in now for South Carolina. Gave him some good minutes the other day against Auburn. He really did. Playing a physical team and banging like he's capable of doing, he was able to excel some against Auburn. So South Carolina hanging in there. They've hit 5 of their last 6. They are up 12-8, so they're shooting 56% early on. Other basketball tonight, Upstate plays at Asheville, Charleston Southern at Winthrop, Stanford at Wake Forest, Cal at North Carolina, NC State at Virginia Tech, Wofford at Chattanooga, East Tennessee State at Furman, the Citadel at Greensboro, Georgia at Tennessee, SMU at Virginia, Pittsburgh at Florida State, and Texas at Oklahoma. SEC battle there, Texas and Oklahoma. All right, there you go with the rundown on that. When we come back, Brooks Thomason will join us. He was in Atlanta last night covering the Clemson game. We'll get his thoughts on what he saw from the Tigers, what he heard from Brad Brownell. We'll hear from Brad Brownell. And then coming up, we're going to have Dabo Sweeney, Tom Allen coming your way. We'll be back.
George Bryant here for Tsunami Bar Sports, and some say the fun is in the winning. I say the fun is in the training. And Tsunami Robbie, what do you say?
George, we all know you get more done when you're having fun. This technology is different, it's engaging, but it's also a lot of fun to use.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any Tsunami Bar order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait, order today.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the SCHSL and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk. Beautiful day in South Carolina. Nice ride up to Clemson for the press conference. Man, they've done a great job. For those of you who live in the Harbison, St. Andrews area, Chapin area out that way, you know what's been going on. I haven't been out that way in several weeks, so the progress they've made, almost completing the widening of the highways, fantastic. What a beautiful ride in and out of town. Heading up to Clemson, up to exit 85 is where it starts to go back to 2 lanes. So you got about 15, 16, 17 miles of 4 lane, then 3 lane, and nice pavement, no potholes.
It's great.
Guardrails haven't been run into yet. All kind of cement walls still solid. Love a brand new highway. Though I did miss, they redid the exit coming off of 20, getting on 126 leaving Columbia, and I totally missed it. I had to circle back around. They had closed off the old exit, the new exit. I totally missed because I was no telling where my mind was this morning. But kudos to the highway department, all the folks that did that work, because that was some hard work, and they got it done pretty quickly, I'd say.
Yeah, I was awfully impressed when Heidi and I went up to the upstate for Thanksgiving to see my folks. I couldn't believe how much they had done because I don't drive that way all that often. And last time I'd gone, I was thinking this is going to be another 10-year project. Like I-85 seemingly is always under construction between Spartanburg and Greenville. But I was awfully impressed with the job they had done. And it is a nice ride out of Columbia up 26. There's no doubt.
And, a good ride in Columbia, one of my favorite rides, maybe my number one ride in the state is I-20 going east. And getting on 76 and 501, you keep going east and just keep going on 501 till you hit the ocean. And that means you're at the beach, and we want you to be ready to go to the beach this spring and summer and have a great place to stay and enjoy your vacation. And there's no better way to enjoy a great vacation than by having a wonderful place to stay. And just call Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate, 843-237-4246, 843-237-4246, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Let Jimmy and the staff set you up for a perfect beach getaway anywhere up and down the Grand Strand. Again, 843-237-4246, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Give the man a call. He is Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate.
Okay. They're calling for snow, by the way, over off I-20 this direction next Wednesday.
Well, I know you're hoping for that.
Yeah, but the problem is I'm going to be out of town.
Yeah, see, there you go.
In Statesboro.
You're deserting us.
And according to the Weather Channel, 3 to 5 inches of snow next Wednesday here in Florence.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how's that going to happen? Because it's going to be 65 degrees in Columbia. Now, how's that going to happen?
There's no way it would be 65 degrees, 33 here.
Yeah.
Is that your paid-for weather app telling you this?
Well, it's telling
nonsense.
Me 65 degrees. All right, let's welcome in Brooks Thomason. He was among the 4,000-plus there in Atlanta last night. Not exactly a packed house for that 9 o'clock tip-off between Clemson and Georgia Tech. Of course, Brooks wasn't buying a ticket. He was there covering for us as part of the media. And welcome in. Hope you enjoyed your time in Atlanta last night. The Tigers certainly did.
The Tigers definitely did, but the game did not start out very enjoyable, Phil. Let me tell you that. It was a very slow way to get the kind of both the small crowd going, both teams after a long drive. It just felt like it was going to be an even longer game.
Yeah. Well, when you go 0 for 10, as Tech did to start a game, that's going to set you back, and you give Clemson credit. They built, and they didn't shoot it all that well early either, but they got an 8-0 head start, and they never let Tech catch them the rest of the way, and they maintained their lead. What did you, watching in person, what did you see that kind of stood out to you about the Tigers last night?
it was the defensive rotations that really stood out for Clemson. When it seemed like Tech was finally getting something going on the offensive end, maybe an extra pass here or there, it always felt like somebody was there to step into the lane, especially Jaden Zachary. He's been leading the ACC in steals. He had another impressive performance, and right when Tech was about to claw their way back in, maybe make it a 5-point game at halftime, Zachary came up with 2 crucial steals, 2 fast break buckets. Clemson went on a big 16-7 run to close the first half. That was really all she could write for Georgia Tech, minus the ending 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah. What about the play of Shefflin last night on a bad leg and a bad back? Yet he still gave the Tigers a typical game by him, 16 points, 7 rebounds. I noticed he didn't bring any players in for post-game interviews, at least in the main interview room. Did you guys get a chance to talk to him or any of the other players outside the locker room?
It was a struggle actually finding them. That they didn't bring any players, the main one, so I didn't get any quotes from Ian or his health. But viewing his health was very interesting. In the first half, he only took 1 shot, and we thought exactly this was the same Shefflin we saw at home against Florida State. But the second half, he got his roll back on again, shot 4 of 7. He made 2 crucial 3-pointers down the end of the stretch, 3 of 4 from the foul line. But I think the most interesting thing about Shefflin, he had 4 steals on the night, contributing to that defensive end. And even when he was just struggling to move around, he made a huge interception at the end of the game, just jumping up and getting right above, looking like a tight end for Clemson almost. Just jumping up, getting the steal to stop the Georgia Tech run that was happening with about 2 minutes left in the second half.
Yeah, been some talk of him, maybe just joking about him joining the football team at some point. What about Zachary last night? He continues to play at a really high level. This is a transfer pickup for them that's really paying dividends.
Yeah, the Boston College kid. I mean, he's also a graduate senior. This team is very experienced and old, but one thing that really stood out with Zachary, not only the defensive side that I mentioned with the 3 steals, but when Clemson couldn't get it going on the offensive end to start the game, he was the player that finally got it going. He knocked down a crucial left wing 3. He had those crucial steals in the first half to extend it, and he made multiple fast break layups when Clemson had just had the defensive energy to keep Tech out of it. Even when they shot 44%, 34% from the 3 as a team, he made 3 out of the 8 3-pointers for Clemson. So he was crucial for keeping the Tigers not only to win this game by double digits, maybe not even get upset here in Atlanta, McCamish Pavilion.
Real quick, got about 20 seconds. How well do you think the Tigers are playing right now based on the numerous games you've seen?
I think they're playing at a solid rate. However, I think this team has to elevate themselves, and that's exactly what we can see at Pitt. That's a quad 1 game right there. Pitt 29th in the net ranking, so if they can get a victory there on Sunday, you have a quad 1 victory.
That would be huge. Okay. Hey, Brooks, thank you, man. Have a great night. Talk to you again soon. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Phil. You have a great night yourself.
Thank you. Brooks Thomason helping us cover Clemson basketball. We're going to hear from Brad Brownell when we come back. And then we'll turn our attention to Clemson football coming up. Hear from Dabo Sweeney and Tom Allen, and we'll talk more about Tom Allen and what we expect him to bring to Clemson. Be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature dipping down to 28. Tomorrow, another great-looking day. Lots of sunshine, the high climbing to 57. And on Friday, just as nice, 59 is our high. Well, that changes on Saturday. Heavy rain is expected throughout the day. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
The Point.
I sure like to brag about good local businesses. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is a great local biz. Josh and his team stress customer service as their top priority. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning came out to my house. I had a toilet that wasn't working right, a garbage disposal that died. They came out right on time, told me everything they were going to do, and explained the price of each repair before even bringing in the tools. I knew exactly what I was getting and exactly what it would cost. Their prices are fair. Their team is courteous and professional. Plus, they did a great job fixing what needed fixing in my home. I am very careful about making any recommendations, and I'm thrilled and confident to suggest you call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning for any plumbing needs. If it's a repair or to replace something, if it's that tankless water heater that you've always wanted to give you that endless hot water and save you some money. They unclog drain and sewer lines and so much more. Online, you'll find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com or just give Josh and those great folks a phone call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222, and tell them you heard about them from here at The Point.
If you step onto H&J Cattle Company's farm, you'll find third-generation farmers upholding the legacy. They embrace sustainability and take immense pride in their craft, raising cattle purely on nature's offerings without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. The result? Unmatched quality beef that's not just good, it's the best in South Carolina. Experience the distinct flavor of our finest registered Hereford and Wagyu beef. Visit us online at hdjcattle.co or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle CO.
Hi, John here from Redbird Windows and Doors. You know what really bothers me about my industry? It's gimmicks instead of honesty. With Redbird, it's pretty simple. We do absolutely great work, we're local, and our projects are fairly priced. If you're ready for some new windows and doors or need our help, you'll get high-quality materials, service, and my personal guarantee. Online, find us at redbirdwindows.com or call me directly at 727-0561. That's 727-0561. Redbird Windows and Doors.
Happy New Year! 2025 is here, and that means it's time to get your finances back on track. With Founders Federal Credit Union, you can manage your debt like a pro this year. Consolidate any high-interest debt with a personal loan from Founders. Debt consolidation offers several advantages like simplified payments, lower interest rates, fixed interest rates, and extended payment terms. It may even improve your credit score or even help you avoid default. So simplify and possibly reduce your payments by consolidating your debt. At Founders, we have personal loans to fit your needs, whether you need a little or you need a lot. Plus, our loan officers will work with you on your payment terms and help you find a solution that fits your budget. So stop by one of our locations or visit foundersfcu.com/personal loans to apply for a personal loan today. Relax, you're with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
The Point. The Point. The Point.
Press that button, home stew.
Sports talk every weeknight from 6 to 8, feeling just right. Phil, Chris, and Josh, they're in the zone. Across South Carolina, they're well known. Sports talk, bringing the heat. Talking sports, can't be beat. Tune in, don't you pout. It's a show you can't live without.
All right, 17-15, Vanderbilt leading South Carolina at the under 8. Gamecocks are 42%, 38% Vandy. Neither team can shoot from long. Each has 1-3. Gamecocks 4 of 6. Doors 4 of 4 from the line. Rebounding's pretty even. At this point, it's Ugasuk leading the Gamecocks with 6. Everybody else who scored's got 4. Conyers has got a couple of baskets. Make that 2 free throws and 1 basket. He's got 4. Murray Boyles has not scored since the early part of the ballgame. He's still at 4 points. So 17-15 Vandy. Last night, as we just talked with Brooks about, we've discussed, Clemson got a road win's a road win in the ACC. You don't shrug those off.
No.
Even if there's only 4,000 people in the arena. They're just killing ACC basketball. They're killing it. Here is Brad Brownell, his comments moments after the Tigers go 6-1 in ACC play.
Yeah, just kind of a grinder-type win. Thought our defense was really good tonight. Did a lot of different things that I thought were helpful, and thought our communication was really good, and certainly that was probably the better side of the ball for us. We didn't shoot it as well, got off to a little slow start, but midway through the through the half, I thought we started to play a little bit better, and we were able to finish the game. So good win for us. Road wins are hard in this league.
Especially inside the paint and around the rim, defense seemed to kind of frustrate Georgia Tech a little bit. Usually going into halftime, you try to make adjustments. Was there really any adjustments that you needed to make to the game plan tonight?
I don't know if we had any major adjustments, just trying to sustain. I thought they hurt us on the glass a little bit at times, and so just blocking out and make sure we were finishing possessions. I thought we did a decent job of keeping them out of the paint, but, it's just kind of one of those games you just had to keep playing, but there were no major adjustments or anything like that, no.
So Georgia Tech being down a few key guys tonight, does that sort of change the way you viewed this thing? Or like you said, wins are tough and you'll take it?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that Damon's team has not been at full strength for much of the year. And we've had, that's one of the things that's happened to our league. Notre Dame, Syracuse, these guys, I'm sure there's others. Those are ones off the top of my head. Have had a lot of players or their best players miss a lot of games. And, they got 3 or 4 guys who are good players that are out. So, neither team played their bench very much. Both were kind of riding with our starters. Obviously, they didn't have much to go with. I don't know, it changed things a little bit just based on personnel. Whether they have a guy like Kawasi Reeves, who's a heck of a shooter, you got to change how you guard maybe a little bit versus another player.
You seemed to get a little animated tonight on the sideline, especially there in the last 4 minutes. What was your message to the team going down the stretch there?
I didn't like a couple of our shots. I thought Victor had a couple of bad plays where he was forcing the ball inside, and then we had a couple of threes that I didn't love. I'm really proud of Ian. Ian, his back is bothering him. He doesn't have quite the same pop that he usually has, and so, probably isn't quite as effective as he normally would be, and he's just kind of gutting it out there. And I thought he showed great toughness, but I was just a little frustrated. We had 2 or 3 possessions I didn't like in the last 5 to 6 minutes of the game.
And speaking of Victor's final question for me, yes, some question on offense tonight as you related to, but defensively, especially around the rim tonight, his footwork and balance seemed to just frustrate Georgia Tech to the point that not only that, he was able to stay out of foul trouble. Yeah. For a big guy like that, is there anything in particular that he does in the offseason?
No, he's got good feet. He's long, pretty good timing. Certainly his ability to defend the rim helps our team tremendously. He's had a couple games this year where he's gotten into foul trouble, and that's been a problem for us. But his ability to help us defend the rim tonight was certainly an important part of the game. Yes, agree with you there.
Tigernet, just saying James Zachary back with the season high. Just how much of a stability was he offensively, especially when you said maybe like shot selection or 2 this evening?
Yeah, I thought early in the game one of my reminders to our team was don't settle on offense. And I thought we did in the first, 10, 12 minutes of the game. I thought we took some quick ones. It's not like they were bad. Most of them were open, but they're a little forced, a little quick. Sometimes you're doing the whole good to great shot. And I thought we took some pretty good shots, but we weren't maybe taking some great ones. I do think the ball found Jaden a couple times for great ones, wide open transition threes where we moved it a little bit better. And obviously he knocked them down. I thought he played very well on both ends tonight, defending, and obviously, he had 6 defensive rebounds to go along with the 3-point shots that he made. He was terrific tonight.
All right, there you go, Brad Brownell following the Tigers' win. Now they get ready to go to Pittsburgh for what will be a huge game for both of those teams. As Brooks pointed out, be a Q1 win for the Tigers, and they need more of those. Meantime, in Nashville, 19-17 Vanderbilt, 5:51 to go in the opening half. This game's kind of gone back and forth here early on, and it's Vandy with the 2-point lead, 5:42 to go in the half. We'll talk Clemson football after the break.
Happy New Year. 2025 is here, and that means it's time to get your finances back on track. With Founders Federal Credit Union, you can manage your debt like a pro this year. Consolidate any high-interest debt with a personal loan from Founders. Debt consolidation offers several advantages like simplified payments, lower interest rates, fixed interest rates, and extended payment terms. It may even improve your credit score or even help you avoid default. So simplify and possibly reduce your payments. by consolidating your debt. At Founders, we have personal loans to fit your needs, whether you need a little or you need a lot. Plus, our loan officers will work with you on your payment terms and help you find a solution that fits your budget. So stop by one of our locations or visit foundersfcu.com/personal loans to apply for a personal loan today. Relax. You're with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in South Carolina for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your rec case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. Jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
All right, South Carolina now up 22-19, 4:23 to go in the half. Now it's 22-22, 3:57 to go. Vandy knocks down a three. They had gone cold for about 4 minutes. They knocked down a three, and Murray Boyles now has 8 for the Gamecocks, 8 points, 3 rebounds, and Ugasuk has 6 points. All right, today up at Clemson, it was Meet Tom Allen Day. That is the new defensive coordinator for Clemson. However, he is defensive coordinator. He is also a linebackers coach, but he's not going to be just focusing on coaching linebackers. Apparently, under this new plan, 2 things. He's going to work with every position, and one of the analysts, they all have analysts working with the position coaches. They're going to coach more directly the linebackers than he will be coaching. But he'll be coaching out of the linebacker room. That's where he will center himself. And then he's not going to recruit on the road. He'll spend all his time on campus. And he's not sure yet if he'll be upstairs or downstairs. He's done both in his coaching career. Turns out, didn't know this until the press conference, he has a daughter who lives in Greenville. And she has a family and kids. So he's got family 25 miles from Clemson, yet this is the first time he's ever been to Clemson, was today. Let's hear what Dabo Swinney had to say. He kind of gives a pretty good background on the hire. And then we'll hear some opening comments from Tom Allen and a few questions. This was this afternoon up at Clemson. Here's Dabo Swinney.
You know, first thing I would say is, again, as I said in my statement, I just, how much I love Wes Goodwin and his family, and thankful for the job that he did. Unbelievable work ethic. Nobody works harder or worked harder than Wes. And it just didn't work, and that's my fault. Simple as that. It's not his fault. That's my fault. But my job is to make sure that we are doing everything we can to be the best version of ourselves year in and year out. And as I always do, I think it's important to step back always from emotion of things and, keep a good perspective on the good, the bad, but evaluate, and you always set your eyes forward on what you got to do to get better. And, we've been to 7 CFPs in the past 10 years, 6 Final Fours, 4 Final Twos, and 2 national championships. And have won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. So we've done a lot of great things, and we've created, high standard and high expectations. And so again, there's not a program out there that's been more consistent than us, and we're really proud of that. But we're always striving to get better. And each and every year, I try to do what I need to do to help us do just that. Keep growing, keep getting better. And I felt like I needed to have a change in leadership on the defensive side this year. And so I decided to make that change. And then once I did, I did a lot of research, and obviously who's good on defense and this and that, and pretty easy to kind of figure that out. But then I did a lot of due diligence, and I called a lot of people that I know and trust, defensive people, head coaches, GMs, NFL people, without sharing any information with anyone, just getting their feedback. And, because I'd kind of established a little bit of a list myself. And so it was really interesting to hear the feedback from a lot of different people on, their perspective of the best out there. And I kind of got a list down. It was a very kind of humbling reminder of how special Clemson is, and how football people view our program, especially when this is your livelihood and what you do. How people view Clemson, and in particular, again, our program and the type of consistency and success that we've had. That was really humbling for me, because when I put my list together, again, I had a lot of people that so many people that reached out, but I got it to about 10 or 12 people. And the only coach that I had to reach out to gauge interest was this guy. He was the only one. Everybody else I wanted to reach out to, I didn't have to do that, because they either contacted me directly or through their representation. So literally the only guy I had to gauge interest in was Coach Allen. And I did that through our agent, but he wasn't going to talk to me until it was done, which I really respected that. But everybody else, again, either directly or indirectly. And the great thing is, the best of the best really wanted to come and be here at Clemson. And so that was a really cool thing for me to, just go through. I got it down from 10 to 12 to 5, and then really did a real deep dive there. Got it down to 3, and then I got it down to 2. And in the end, I just felt like a lot of prayer. The good Lord was just kind of, put this thing together. That's the best answer I can give you. And I felt like he's a great coach, and all those people were great coaches, all sitting defensive coordinators at really, really good schools. But he just felt like he was the right leader that I needed at this time. And he's a great coach, but as I said, he's a great leader of men, has been for a long time. I love his background. I love his track record. But highly, highly recommended from some of the best people in this business, from all not just coaches, all different layers of college football. And so I'm glad it worked out. It was, obviously they played a game not even a week ago, so I really wasn't able to get on the phone with him until I guess it was Friday night, and then Saturday followed that up. So just really exactly what I thought he would be. We knew each other a little bit. He was an interim in Indiana, and when he got that job, he reached out to me, and we kind of communicated, a little text a little bit here and there while he was the head coach in Indiana. But know a lot of the same people, but just a great fit for us. Everybody's excited. Going to introduce him to the team today. We'll have a team meeting this afternoon, but wanted y'all to have the opportunity to meet him and get to know him a little bit. So with that, I'll pass it over to Coach so he can have a little opening statement, but just really, thankful his whole family is joining us. He's got a beautiful family, son Thomas. He's got a daughter, Brittany. He's got another daughter, Hannah, and then his wife, Tracy. So they'll be getting here as soon as they can, and we're going to welcome him to the Clemson family. And, nothing like opening up with LSU and an opener to see what he's got. Should be a fun off season. So with that, Coach, I'll pass it off to you.
I appreciate that. Just so thankful to be here. So excited. Wow, it's been a whirlwind here the last few days. Just want to thank, first of all, Coach Franklin for the opportunity he gave me at Penn State. What an amazing season we had together. As Coach mentioned, I didn't reach out because I wasn't looking, and so, but just Pat Kraft, the AD there, special people. Just really thank the players for the way that they responded and played and had an amazing, playoff run. Obviously, still wish we were playing for one more game, but at the same time, just thankful for that opportunity and just really appreciate Coach reaching out. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this. He did mention something I think was a big part of this, and that was my family. Faith and family is a big deal for me. And the culture that Coach has created here is very well respected and well known in the coaching profession. And then, our two daughters he mentioned, they both actually live in the Carolinas. Brittany lives down the road here, which is unusual because we had really never lived, any of our family never lived in North or South Carolina. And Hannah lives, in North Carolina, and she's expecting our second grandchild here in about 30 days. So the chance to have our two girls here close by and Thomas with us and his little son, little Tommy, and Ani, his wife. So family's it means a lot to me. And my wife has made some amazing sacrifices over the years for me to pursue the dream that God put in my heart to coach football at this level. And excuse my voice, I've been yelling here recently, but I talk fast and yell a lot. So, but bottom line is that we're all thankful for this opportunity and realize that a lot of great young men here that I really intend to get to know in a very personal way here real soon, and a chance to impact their lives and a chance to play elite defense. That's the expectation. That's why we came here. So appreciate that. And with that, we'll take questions.
Luke, did either one of you, ask Matt about, did you ask Matt what it's like here? Did you ask Matt?
Yeah. So once I kind of got it down to a few people, a very tight circle, I did talk to Matt and swore him to secrecy. Pinky swear. Can't break a pinky swear. But no, Matt was he just couldn't say enough great things about him. I talked to everybody he's pretty much worked with, but Matt certainly gave me a lot of good insight as well.
And once Coach reached out to me, then I talked to Matt, and obviously we coached together at Ole Miss and have been in some similar situations along the way, and so we were able to have some real good questions about the culture here and what it's like to coach here and everything. So obviously that was a big part of this process. Obviously a familiar face. We spent some time together in his office here a few minutes ago, and just blessed to be able to be with somebody that I know and trust and know does a great job, and we have a lot of the same values as well. So it's pretty awesome.
Tom, just going back to Indiana, I remember you talked about how you had this whole bunch of license plates that you kept from every state you went to because you bounced around so much, and you liked that you were sticking in one place for a little bit. So you're bouncing around again. You see Clemson as a place that you want to stick around for a while, and just with that head coaching, is that something that you're keeping the door open there, or is that something that you just want to be the coordinator?
Well, first of all, we had these license plates in my home office, and we've added two more since that conversation, and honestly, I've been a head coach in the Big Ten, and I love being defensive coordinator. I really, truly do. I'm definitely, I've learned never to say never. I get all that, but that's not what I'm planning to do. There's two things I love to do. I really love impacting the lives of young people, and you really can do that by investing in there as a time component. And when you're a head coach, it's hard to have that time to really get to know the guys and really dive into their lives. And so this gives me a chance to do that. And also, I really do enjoy the football side of defense and studying film and really just diving into that. And you don't really get a chance to do that. I became a head coach and tried to call the defense for a few years, and that was good, but it just was too much. after a while. And so this role really fits me. It fits me what I really enjoy doing. It fits what I want to do. And to be able to chance to do it at a place like Clemson and at a place like Penn State, that was pretty special, you know. And, you know, we obviously were one game away, one play away, I thought, from getting to the national championship game. And we expect to be in that situation here. So to be able to have football at the highest level, do what you love to do around great people, man, doesn't get any better than that. So I'm very, very excited here. And hopefully this is the last license plate that we've got to put on the ball.
Hi, Coach. This is Tracy with TigerNet.com. When you are beginning to build this Clemson defense, what maybe traits are you going to identify to build a successful unit here?
Well, to me, it's really pretty simple. Football is not a complicated game. It's not easy, but it's simple. And to me, it's about playing with the physicality and the toughness. You recruit speed. You know, you want great athletes, you got to recruit those athletes. And I love guys that can run and love to hit, you know. And so we're going to make a big deal about takeaways, tackling, and effort. To me, that's the foundational football side of what we want defensively, and guys that can get to that football at a high level of speed. And when they get there, they got a very violent way to finish. And so, but you got to create confidence in your guys. You got to create a system that's simple. I'm really multiple in what we do, but I'm a big concepts guy, so I want our guys to play with a ton of confidence, keep it simple, let them play fast. You know, the multiplicity to me is built in within the system and the scheme, and that we as coaches control that, and the guys just get to play. And I think when you do that, you create the tackles for loss, the sacks, the takeaways that we spend so much time talking about that change games. And I just think about even in the playoff run that we just had, and we had, you know, 28 tackles for loss and 11 sacks and 9 takeaways and scored twice on defense. And that's what you got to do to be able to win and play elite defense. And so, and also in the red zone, because to me at the end of the day, it's about, you know, the only stat that really matters is the points. You know, and so that to me is yards is what it is, but you got to keep them out of the end zone. And so, you know, we were top 5 in the country in red zone defense, and that to me that's where the execution piece and the tackling and all the things you got to coach as an individual coach. But you know, to me, it's really about those simple things, and we're going to adapt the scheme to our guys. You know, I really want to watch our guys here, and I really haven't seen them very much. I watched one game. We played SMU. We got to see the Clemson defense against their offense. That was the only game I watched all year long. So I want to spend time getting to know our guys and seeing what our strengths are, and then kind of adapting the system to them because it has that type of versatility.
There you go. I mean, I think Chris, he clearly, as we like to say, won the press conference. He's an impressive dude. To me, he's got the defensive coordinator look. We'll ask Ellis about that when he joins us here after the top of the hour break. That he's got that natural stern look to his face that defensive coordinators should have. That even when they're smiling, they look like they're frowning.
And they've spent so much time yelling you can't understand them or hear them in a press conference. I would have thought his voice would have returned. Gives you an idea of just how intense he has been during the playoffs. But no, I agree with you. Said everything correctly. Seems he's really, really excited about the opportunity at Clemson. And obviously it sounds like he wants this to be his last stop.
Sounds that way. We will talk to Chuck and Ellis after the break.
WQXL Columbia, W264DM.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi appeared at her confirmation hearing on Capitol Hill for the post of U.S. Attorney General. In her opening statement before the Senate Judiciary Committee, Bondi expressed her objectives for the Justice Department.
I will fight every day to restore confidence and integrity to the Department of Justice and each of its components. The partisanship, the weaponization will be gone. America will have one tier of justice for all.
She also pledged to protect the First Amendment rights of free speech and religion, as well as the Second Amendment right to bear arms, and to reform the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Israel and Hamas have reached an agreement on a multi-phase ceasefire that commits them to end the war in Gaza. Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani said the U.S. helped get the ceasefire deal across the finish line.
But we have seen a momentum that started to build in the last month, and we kept pushing for that, working together very closely with our partners. And I can say that what we have seen from the U.S. in the past few days, seeing a collaboration transcending both administration, was a clear demonstration for the commitment of the U.S. to reach to that deal.
President Biden says the deal will halt the fighting in Gaza, surge much-needed humanitarian assistance to Palestinian civilians, and reunite the Israeli hostages with their families after more than 15 months in captivity. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says there are still final details yet to be worked out. On Wall Street, the Dow by 703 points. More at townhall.com.
Right now, with an important alert, home title fraud is one of the fastest growing white-collar crimes in the country. Criminals can make millions on your house without you even knowing it. Michael, you were one of those criminals?
Yeah, that's right. I was responsible for about $16 million in equity theft and title fraud.
Wow.
And to be honest, it was easy to do. It's just paperwork. So by the time you find out what's happening, the equity in your home is already gone.
So how do you keep your property and equity safe? For more, here's Action News reporter Ron Stevens.
Well, Monica, an in-depth investigation found there's actually just one company that prevents this type of crime from happening: Equity Protect. Equity Protect scans, monitors, alerts, and most importantly, protects you from any attempts to tamper with or steal your home equity and ownership 24 hours a day. Other companies merely monitor. Equity Protect stops the crime from happening. Find out if you're already a victim or take a free risk assessment today at equityprotect.com. That's equityprotect.com.
U.S. officials say the recovery of tens of millions of dollars in Social Security payments to dead people is just the tip of the iceberg. We hear more on this developing story from correspondent Donna Warder reporting.
The U.S. government says so far it has recovered more than $31 million in Social Security payments that were erroneously given to dead people. The money was reclaimed as part of a pilot program after Congress gave the Treasury Department access to the Social Security Administration's full master file of dead people going back to 1899. The Treasury Department projects it'll recover more than $215 million during the 3-year period it has access to the federal database, which ends at the end of 2026. Donna Warder, Washington.
News and analysis available at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature dipping down to 28. Tomorrow, another great-looking day. Lots of sunshine, the high climbing to 57. And on Friday, just as nice, 59 is our high. Well, that changes on Saturday. Heavy rain is expected throughout the day. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. The Point. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Great to have you with us. Just a moment. Our final edition of Chalk Talk on the season. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be it. I mean, they're going to play the game Monday night, and by then, unfortunately, I believe the coaches would have forgotten about what happened by the following Wednesday. Unless they want to come back next Wednesday. We'll see.
I'm just glad they're going to finally play the game. Let's just get the season over with.
Absolutely.
Good grief.
Halftime, 33-26. Vanderbilt is leading South Carolina. The Gamecocks shooting 40%, but didn't make a field goal over the last 4-24. Murray Boyles.
Their worst half of basketball, Phil, this season. Has to be.
Was it?
Go down to the TOs.
Oh my God. 16?
Their season high this year is 15. They committed 16 turnovers, and the majority of them were just lazy passes, offensive fouls, held ball situation. They look lethargic, like a team that, hey, if we win, great. If not, and Vanderbilt's making all the small plays, doing everything. They're just not shooting it well, and Carolina's fortunate, and I mean fortunate, to be within 7. They should be down by about 20, as poorly as they played in the first half.
That might be a record. I mean, 16 turnovers in a half.
They're on pace for 32 turnovers
that's
in this ball game.
I didn't even notice that. With that said, let's turn things over to the two greatest coaches of our generation, Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson.
Get ready for a deep dive into the X's and O's. This is Chalk Talk with coaches Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, always a pleasure to welcome two of the golden football minds in South Carolina. Coach Chuck Reedy on the offensive side, Coach Ellis Johnson on the defensive side. Chuck, welcome in. How are you?
Doing great, Phil. Good to be with you one more time.
Thank you. Well, we can do next Wednesday. It's up to y'all if you want to, unless you're going to go to one of your island getaways.
No.
Ellis?
No, I'll be here.
Ellis, welcome in. It's good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Glad you're with us. Well, before we talk about a couple of things locally, let's talk about what we've got coming up. Finally, you heard Chris say, let's get this thing over with. Now we've pushed the season to January 20th. Ohio State, Notre Dame. What do you see on the offensive side in this game for these two teams, Chuck?
Well, obviously Ohio State is playing really well. They've had 3 really good games in the playoffs, and I think Will Howard has played exceptionally well, and even without Jeremiah Smith making a play, they still were able to win the football game. So, they've got a lot of weapons, and Notre Dame, we talked about last week, Riley Leonard being the difference, and Notre Dame is kind of looked like, one of those teams of destiny, and, we'll have to see. But, you got to figure Ohio State, certainly has more weapons.
You think Notre Dame, you mentioned Riley Leonard, but, you factor him into their running game. You feel like they will attempt to lean heavily on their running game?
Well, they will, but, the other night, he threw for over 200 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, says he's a great passer, but, he did what he had to do with his arm. And, he didn't have that many yards rushing, but when, he makes plays with his feet when they need them. And, but like I said, he threw for, I think 220 or 30 yards. So, he's capable of making the throws as well.
All right, Ellis, defensively, looking at Ohio State and Notre Dame, which one has the better defense? Can you differentiate much between the two, especially when you think about the two offenses that they'll be facing?
Well, it may have been updated since those last games, but y'all were kind of making fun of it. If you look at the scoring defense, Ohio State #1, Notre Dame #2, and they're playing for the national championship. And it's only a point between what they've been giving up this year. There may be one more game added to this. I didn't print out all my stats this time. I got a little lazy. But, it comes down, just like we talked about last week, and I kind of went with Penn State. I thought Aller could give them enough balance that they could maybe make a few third downs. And it turned out that that's what Notre Dame did with Riley Leonard, not with his feet, with his passing things. It's been kind of crazy. I think Ohio State has a better defense, but not by much. They both statistically very close, but if you go back and look through the whole season, Ohio State's had a tougher track. They've played a lot better football teams. They're a little more proven. And I kind of agree with Chuck. It's going to be a better football team up against a team who's good enough to beat them on a given night. They're kind of like a team of destiny.
Break down the two defenses. Looking at Ohio State, their formations, their schemes, and looking at Notre Dame and their schemes, what kind of catches your eye from a defensive standpoint?
Well, I see both of them use enough pressure that you better be prepared for it. And they're not afraid to bring it because they can play out behind it and get the job done. But I do think Oklahoma's a little bit more physical and more talented up there. Al Gold is the defense coordinator at Notre Dame. Is a good buddy. We used to spend a lot of time swapping ideas and visiting with each other back 30 years ago when he was just out of college and I was already gray-headed. But I really like him. I think he's a great coach. I think he's been a huge addition to that program. You know, I just see it as a game that Ohio State is going to have to do something to lose the ball game. But they could. And that's Notre Dame kind of been doing that all season. They play well enough to be around it at the end, and they make a play that they're not supposed to make, and, you know, end up winning the game. But I just think Ohio State right now is playing as good a football as anybody has in several years.
Chuck, between the two quarterbacks, Howard and Leonard, which one do you like more?
Well, you know, I Will Howard, you know, I think has, you know, just done what a great job he's done. I mean, he manages that team and, you know, makes plays, you know, throwing the football. And he's got more weapons. But now I like Riley Leonard. I mean, I think Riley Leonard is a winner. And, you know, and like I said, you know, last week, and I say again, you know, if I had to take one of them for what I wanted to do, I would take Riley Leonard because he can throw it, but he can also run it. You know, Will Howard's, you know, he's not going to beat you with his feet.
Yeah, you like those guys that could move it with their legs. And also, I mean, does Leonard remind you maybe a more talented version of a Rodney Williams?
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, that's a good – he's more athletic than what Rodney was. But, you know, Rodney wasn't a great passer, but Rodney could beat you. I mean, he would beat you throwing it, you know. He would find a way to win. Yeah, and so that is a good comparison. You know, Riley, like I said, Riley Leonard's a little bit better athlete than what Rodney was, but you know, they're similar.
Thing is, I don't believe he went to Duke coming out of high school. I think he was a basketball guy mostly in high school, and then all of a sudden he picked up playing quarterback kind of late, right?
That's correct. I think his dad was a basketball player, and he wanted to be a basketball player, but, you know, he's from Fairhope, which is down there, you know. Anyway, and you know, got, you know, didn't get a lot of offers, I don't think, football-wise. You know, went to Duke, you know, and did a great job there.
He did. I mean, they got that thing rolling until, you know, he left, the coach left, et cetera. Ellis, when you look at the defensive lines, Ohio State against the Notre Dame offensive line, and then vice versa, how do you think the two defensive lines match up against the opposing offensive lines, just based on the talent on their defensive lines?
But there again, I just think Ohio State is better, you know, and we're talking talent. We're talking some production and that kind of thing, but they still got to play just one game. Now, we'll point out, Notre Dame had 116 rushing, and Penn State had 204 rushing, but Notre Dame won without winning the rushing battle. So, you know, and Chuck points out all the time, you got to be able to run the football. Somehow they got out of that one without running the football. But against Texas, Ohio State gave up 58 yards rushing. And so I just don't know how Notre Dame wins this game, but it would not shock me if they do.
Yeah. Are you expecting a low-scoring game here? I mean, when I say low-scoring by today's standards, like something, the winning score being like something in the low 20s.
Yes. The only thing that could change that, in my opinion, is the defense score or turnovers and setup scores or the special teams put something on the board. I just think if these two teams lined up and played about 60, 65 snaps against each other all night long, I just don't see them scoring a lot of points on each other.
How about you, Chuck? You looking for a low-scoring game in the national championship game?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And, you know, along with what Ellis has been saying, I mean, you know, if you look at this playoff, I mean, defense has ruled the game. I mean, you know, it's kind of like it was back in the day. I mean, if you can play good defense and don't turn the ball over, and run the ball some, you got a good chance to win. And that's kind of what it's been. It hadn't, people hadn't been out there, throwing it all around, scoring 30, 40 points. I mean, it's been a defensive playoff, I think.
I would agree. Just looking back through the games to this point, and I guess you would say the only game that was really offensive where both teams had numbers would be, and I guess this also would include overtime. I don't remember what the regulation was. Arizona State was 39-31. Clemson and Texas was 38-24. But otherwise, the winning team their defense has pretty much held the other team down. So it's been a defensive thing there. Chuck, how do you feel as we go to the championship game? How do you feel overall about the playoffs? I mean, I think we all realize they're going to look at some things and probably change the seeding process and all that. But do you consider this, the 12 teams and the different rounds and the home field in the opening round, et cetera, and we're getting to the national champion now, that it's doing its job, that it served its purpose of getting us to the true national champion?
Yeah, no, I think it's been great. And, as we've talked before, I think if they can change the seeding process, you don't need to have a Boise State with a 3 seed and an Arizona State with a 4 seed. I mean, they need to, do a better job with the seeding. But, I mean, it's been very entertaining. We've had some really good games, and I think if it's seeded better, you won't have some of those blowouts that we had early in the playoffs.
How do you feel about it, Ellis?
Yeah, pretty much similar. I think that for all the things we criticized early on in the thing, which some of it was legit, what we've ended up with, unfortunately, is the best 4 teams. I'm not happy about it because it's not, anybody that we would have any give a crap about. But it also had more teams in it, possibly in it, going in those last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So I'd say in those 2 aspects, more teams have a shot there at the end. Still had a lot of controversy on who barely didn't get in. That's going to happen no matter how many teams you put in. Then the seeding did cause some games to be bad. But, you can have some bad games. When you got Penn State and Tennessee, you think you're going to have a hell of a game. I think that home field thing, excuse me, I didn't mean those 2. Penn State beat up on SMU.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
That home field thing was huge on that. So even when they thought they had a good matchup in the seeding, you still had a blowout. So that can happen. But I think they got the best 4 teams in these last games. Maybe got the best 2 in this one. I'm not happy about it. Y'all probably not either. I could care less who wins. But I think those aspects, they got what they wanted. I do think there'll be changes in the future. I don't know what they would be. I hope they go to 16 teams or cut it to 8. Then I'll do that. Go to 16 teams, no buys. Cut out all the home field stuff. Find a neutral site for every game, or maybe give the top 4 teams a home game. I don't know. But I think overall it came out better than we thought.
All right, a couple of questions for each of you, Chuck. So my question was going now I'm forgetting my question. I had it in my head, and then I got sidetracked. Now I got to go back and try. I'm having an Ellis moment here. I'm trying to pull it back up. Let me think here.
Phil, I've had a couple of glasses of wine. You're in the studio. You got no excuse.
Oh,
let me help you out here, Phil. Just a quick second, since we can bring it back a little bit closer to home, dovetailing off Coach Johnson's comments a moment ago. But Ellis, your thoughts on the new DC hire at Clemson? What do you know about Tom Allen, and what do you think he's going to be able to do with that defense at Clemson?
I don't know a lot about him other than just what y'all read to. I've met him. He's a good guy. He was over at Ole Miss when I was at Auburn. And he was coaching linebackers. I think had something to do with special teams. Obviously has a good track record, good hire. I had 2 close friends involved in the situation. Didn't have a winner in it because it's just part of the business. But whatever. I think he's a good hire. He certainly has a good track record.
I was up there today for the press conference, Ellis, and one thing I noted was, well, two things. He's hoarse as he can be, still doesn't have his voice, and he's got, to me, he looks like a true defensive coordinator, kind of like you did back in the day. Even when you're smiling, you look like you're frowning. Is that just part of the makeup of a defensive coordinator? You're just like never happy?
Well, if that did it, I'd still be coaching. And I'm glad he had a good press conference. By the 6th or 7th game next year, nobody's going to care about that.
Yeah.
And, I'll be honest with you. I mean, there's been a little bit of drop off in personnel, talent, and that kind of thing. I don't think the problem was coaching. I just think it was a situation where some things dropped off a little bit. And but he is a good coach, and he might be the answer. I don't know. I don't know that that's going to cure everything, but I think he will bring an element to it that they might need right now.
Well, it sounds like he will bring a mature voice, a veteran voice, and a physical approach. And one thing Dabo Swinney wants defensively, of course, is to fix the run stop situation. He with more teams now, with kind of a slow shift back to the running game, you got to be able to stop the run, and Clemson did a poor job of that. And you look at what he did at Penn State this year. They were very good against the run. They were very good against that Boise State team with the great running back. So maybe he has a knack for fixing that situation on the defensive side.
Absolutely. And I think, Chuck, we brought it up one time on the show, but I've always believed that the physical element of a football team in college starts with the running game and the offensive line. And I think what you do with the offensive line is what gives the offensive line a chance to be physical or not physical. And I think that that's what the defense either feeds off of and gets tougher and more physical too. You don't scrimmage anybody else. You don't have exhibition games. You got all through spring practice and preseason to get a defense tough enough to stop the run. If you have to have a physical running game to work against, if you're going to be good at that, or you have to recruit totally superior talent. There's only two answers for it.
I remembered my question. It took a few minutes, but I remembered it now. Chuck,
yeah.
Going back to the playoff deal, I mean, is it fair? Well, first of all, you got two teams playing for the national championship. Neither team, one's an independent, and the other team didn't win its conference and didn't play for its conference. Did Ohio State play? No, didn't play for its conference championship either. All right, so you got that, and then you got Notre Dame, which of course is independent and doesn't have to go through that. Is it fair? Let's say Notre Dame, for example. Is it fair that Notre Dame, gets all the benefits without having to pay the price that most every other team has to pay?
Well, no. I mean, I think there's something to be said for that. But the way it was set up before, obviously they could never get a bye. Now, I think they'll change that setup. So in that regard, they were limited as to how high they could be ranked. But going forward, I mean, the whole thing with the conference playoffs, everybody's got to be wondering about that. I mean, you get Georgia wins the SEC, you get Oregon, wins the Big Ten. I mean, and neither one of them, I mean, they're gone, before you even get to the semifinals. So I don't know, the conference championship games can be a detriment in the way it's set up right now.
Ellis, do you think, one of the concerns about the playoffs was that because you could get in with two losses, if Ohio State wins, there'll be a 2-loss national champion, and it's like you water down the effects of the regular season. Like their loss to Michigan, it really didn't mean anything except in the rivalry. Other than that, it didn't mean anything to Ohio State if they go ahead and win the national championship. Are we going to lose the excitement and the the drama and the importance of some of these regular season games because of this?
Well, I hope not. I think the enlargement of the conferences has taken a lot away from the conference championships. There's such a huge footprint in these conferences. The rivalries are getting watered down, if you will. And I agree with Chuck. I mean, everybody that didn't have to play in that championship weekend is still playing football. And I don't know how much this will correlate, but if you go back and look, Army was having a great year, Navy's having a great year. And this is two teams that were going to have to play each other. Army had to play in a championship game before they played that next week against Navy.
Yeah.
Navy had 2 weeks to prepare. So that's not, total into the playoff mode, but it's very similar in that layoff helps you. And, we see it. I don't mean to branch off too far. We see it in that SEC baseball thing. You can tell some of the coaches go, they don't care if they win that thing or not. And they don't really mind if they go home early because they want to rest those pitchers.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge, huge factor. If you have to play that championship week, I think it's huge. And on the question of Notre Dame, I think they need to get in a conference and go play in the NFL. And I do think that they should not get a bye. They should not get a seed out of the first round. They should, because of the fact that they don't have to play a conference schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and look at that schedule they play, guys. Ooh.
But do you think they're going to demand that when they redo it, that they, as Chuck pointed out, they're going to want to be part of the bye system if they because currently they can't get a bye since they don't play for a championship?
Well, I'll be surprised if they change anything before next year. Now, I think what we're talking about will get changed in the 26th season, my gut feeling. And let it go this next season. Let's get 2 years of what happens. But I'm just tired of Notre Dame trying to explain why they need to be independent and nobody else needs to be. And I don't care about their fan base being national and all that. I mean, that's partly why they're being treated special. I'm not serious.
I mean,
that's one of the things I heard James Franklin say that I thought made sense. Everybody needs to get in the conference if we're going to have these playoffs and these championship games.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Notre Dame will tell you, look, man, we just got $20 million for making the playoffs, and we don't have to share it with anybody.
Absolutely.
We don't have to give a penny to Vanderbilt, and we don't have to give a nickel to Wake Forest. It's all ours.
Exactly.
So
that's it. So if you're in the car business, and I'm in the car business, and, I've got Mercedes, and you got to sell Edsels, I don't think you want to compete with me. They've got a sweetheart system, guys, and the other schools in the NCAA allows it. I can't understand it. Hell, 30, 40 years ago, Penn State, Pittsburgh, tons of teams were independent.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's in conferences now, and they got a playoff system now. And, I mean, you're talking about a sweetheart deal, and then they get the ACC to bend the knee and give them 5 games every year. That's a brutal stretch right there.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Let's do it again next week.
Fellas.
Let's do it again next week. I had a very long send-off for you, but I'm going to hold it. We'll do it again next week. Thank you, Chuck.
All right, man.
And thank you, Ellis. You guys are fantastic. We appreciate it. Great
You're going
stuff.
to have to explain to Josh what an Edsel is, too, by the way, during the break.
That's what we drive at Sports Talk. 46-41, Vandy leading the Gamecocks, 11:58.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature dipping down to 28. Tomorrow, another great-looking day. Lots of sunshine, a high climbing to 57. And on Friday, just as nice, 59 is our high. Well, that changes on Saturday. Heavy rain is expected throughout the day. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
The Point. The Point.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting mediators say Israel and Hamas have agreed to a pause in fighting in Gaza and to begin releasing the Israeli hostages held there. If the ceasefire holds, it could eventually bring an end to the bloodiest and most destructive war ever fought between Israel and Hamas. The war transformed the wider region, but leaves the decades-old Israeli-Palestinian conflict at the heart of the turmoil unresolved. Firefighters have reported significant gains against the two massive wildfires burning around Los Angeles, while also extinguishing smaller blazes set by arsonists. The progress was reported Wednesday as a final round of windy flame-fanning weather moved through Southern California. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 703 points. The Nasdaq rose 466. This is SRN News.
So who needs broker solar? Well, it's the homeowner or the business owner that want to take some control of their own power bills. It's the family that decides clean solar is the path for them. Or maybe it's the church or nonprofit that wants to save some big dollars for their cause. Is it you? Maybe it's time you wake up to all Broker Solar can do for you. You have to let Ken and his team be your ultimate guide in what is pretty complex, this solar world. Make no mistake, solar energy is not for everyone. Despite what the scammers and door-knocking liars tell you, it is not free. It's a significant investment, but it has significant returns. From home installations to solar farms, Broker Solar can personalize your solar solution by meeting your needs and your budget. Their menu includes everything from full-scale solar on your roof or land and even battery backups for those pesky power outages that we've all endured. Visit brokersolar.com, stick it to the utility companies while also bathing in the sunny side of savings. Brokersolar.com, giving you the power instead of leaving you feeling powerless.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
Customer service. We all talk about how it's gone down the tubes in recent years, but not everywhere. Not with the Hickory Hill Insurance Agency. These are the folks I want you to feel comfy reaching out to for your Medicare and health insurance needs. Tim Hanberry and Medicare Blueprint have joined Hickory Hill Insurance. The result? Even better customer service with a bigger team to help you by utilizing the very best technology in the industry. And you know what else? Just plain old caring about people and treating them like their family. When you call them, you'll get a call back fast. When you need a question answered, they'll take the time to help. This industry is so confusing and so ever-changing. They have a team that knows the best plans for you. They'll ask all the questions, they'll get all the answers, and as always, it won't cost you a penny to get their services. The best way to learn more? Visit their website, partdandme.com. That's partdandme.com, or call the team at Hickory Hill Insurance Agency. They're local, and they're willing to talk one-on-one. Remember, customer service still matters. 708-7398, 708-7398, or online, partdandme.com.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Quick basketball update. It is 52-46. Vandy over South Carolina, 9:39 to play. The Gamecocks have only turned it over 4 times so far in the second half after 16 first half turnovers. And those turnovers have resulted in 16 points for Vanderbilt. Gamecocks got 15 points off of 10. Vandy, turnovers. That's my new word for turnovers.
You can't turn it over 20 times on the road and hope to win.
Turnovers.
I mean, it's remarkable they're even in this game. I mean, it really is. If they somehow win, I don't know how Vanderbilt handles this, because you can't force 25 turnovers and lose. I mean, it just basketball gods would not like you if that happened.
Just trying to see where the Gamecocks have made up. Now they're down 3, 52-49. They have hit 5 threes. Vandy's hit 4. Gamecocks are leading 12-10 at the foul line. And points off turnovers are practically even. Gamecocks are winning on the boards 28-18. But they've taken 9 fewer shots because of those turnovers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and they're getting beat in the paint 26-18. So I don't really see where they're making it up, but they are. They're hanging in there 54-49. Now to recruiting. Brought to you by Seawells, where you want to go over and have one of their apple turnovers. What are those called? Apple what?
Oh, really?
Not turnovers. What are they called? Apple
pies?
Well, no. Apple something over. What's that called?
It is a turnover.
Is it called a turnover?
Yeah.
Oh, then you want to go have.
Yeah. That's what the Gamecocks are handing out tonight. Apple turnovers.
Well, Seawells will have turnovers for you. No. But I tell you what, you can steal 2 desserts if they're not looking as you're going down the line, like I did yesterday, grab 2 desserts. The daily luncheon buffet, what do we got on Thursday?
Thursday, tomorrow, grilled hamburger, steak and onions, fried pork chops, and chicken pot pie.
All right.
You want to hear Friday?
Give me a Friday.
Sliced beef brisket, southern fried chicken, and teriyaki glazed salmon.
Awesome. Now, most importantly, for Seawells, of course, it's their catering business, which is phenomenal. So many clubs, so many organizations hold their meetings at Seawells because they have great accommodations and they do a great job of servicing the event. And you can have that same service. All you got to do is give them a call and schedule 803-771-7385. Check them out online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Offensive tackle Carter Scruggs, 6'6", 290 of Leesburg, Virginia. Very, very interested in Clemson. Was offered by the Tigers last year. Was there for their home opener last season. Coaches from Michigan, Virginia Tech, Rutgers, and Maryland have been in for visits this month. He's expecting Clemson line coach Matt Luke to be in tomorrow. Says they've been in contact a lot, calling and texting. They've let him know he's a priority. They're coming down Thursday. A lot of interest, he said, in Clemson. They're going to be a top school for him. They'll definitely be a contender for his commitment. Plans to attend the Clemson Junior Day, which is now set for March 8th, their major junior day. It was going to be the previous weekend, but now they've moved it back to March 8th. I think Dabo Sweeney said today, not the previous weekend, I'm sorry, it was going to be in late January. Now they've moved it to March 8th. I think Dabo Sweeney said today, if I heard him right, February 28th might be the start of their spring practice. I think he might have said that today. Anyway, he is also set for an official visit with the Tigers the first weekend in June. Now, South Carolina also offered Scruggs last year, but he said the contact from the Gamecocks has cooled in recent weeks. He's still interested, and he loves what they're doing and what Shane Beamer's doing, and he would like to be in contact with them a little more, he said. He's still figuring out the dates for his other official visits in June. He plans to make his decision after some officials, and some of his other offers include Maryland, Missouri, Oregon, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Syracuse, Penn State, Virginia, Duke, Indiana, Pitt, West Virginia, East Carolina, Marshall. Northwestern safety Tamarian Watkins, most recently offered by Georgia, and he plans to visit there this Saturday. He has a visit to USC set for January 25th. Matt Zenitz of 24/7 Sports this evening with a report that Penn State receiver Harrison Wallace III plans to visit South Carolina. He's 6'1", 198, 46 catches, 720 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He just entered the portal, John, on Tuesday. He also plans to visit Louisville, North Carolina, and Texas A&M, according to Zenitz. Where are the Gamecocks? What are they going to do with all? If they get this guy, what are they going to do with all these receivers? My goodness, they've already got like 7 coming in. Yeah,
I thought we all sort of believed that once the playoff came, that nobody would leave playoff teams. This just shows you that no one is immune to the portal, John.
I would agree.
Regardless of where you are. I mean, I'm sure in the next week or so, Ohio State players are going to be exiting and getting in the portal, as are Notre Dame players after it's done.
Well, you have that 5-day window, I think it is, after your team's season is over. And a basketball note, South Carolina is one of the top 10 with 6'8". Jalen Wingfield of Thomasville, Georgia, per Joe Tipton. The others are Auburn, Cincinnati, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Mississippi State, Virginia Tech, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Alabama. There you go. That's recruiting for tonight here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells. Make sure you check it out regularly on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on our Facebook page, Sports Talk Media Network. And to help you out, you can still use the hashtag STRecruiting and do a search on Facebook and take you right to our stories there. 56-51, what have you seen from the Gamecocks last couple of minutes as they try to hang in there?
They're actually starting to make some shots and appear to be at least cutting down on the turnovers a little bit, as you joked, and you were accurate. Only, 5 turnovers here in the second half after 16 in the opening half. So when they protect the ball, they actually are starting to get some good offensive continuity. Their problem has also been the lack of Nick Pringle tonight. He got into early foul trouble, actually picked up a third foul and a technical in the first half. It was a dual technical. He and Tanner from Vanderbilt, they got sort of tangled up after a charging call on Nick Pringle. So he's been a non-factor. He's only got 1 point tonight.
56-54, Conyers just made a basket. He's got 10, so
he's
two
played well.
Consecutive games in double figures for him, and he's got 2 of the Gamecocks' 6 3-pointers. Defensively, the Gamecocks are not getting it done. Vandy is shooting 59%. They're 10 of 17 so far in the second half, including now 0 for 4 from 3. So now they're 10 of 18. That's 55.6%. So despite everything, the Gamecocks are right there, 56-54 with 6:39 to play. We'll see if they can pull this one out of the fire. It'd be a very big, uplifting win for them on the road in the SEC to finally break through and get that first SEC win.
Especially considering how, let's face it, how poorly they have played on offense with protecting the basketball. You just don't normally go on the road and turn it over 20 times and still have a chance. It'd be a remarkable win, I think, for them. And it'd be one of those wins that they can look back and say, gosh, if we just protected the basketball, how bad would we have beaten Vanderbilt at their place? So, yeah, I mean, and it's going to be one of these. It'll be a teaching moment for Lamont Paris for sure, regardless of what happens. If they lose, he's got an easy stat to point to. And if they win, he can still say, yeah, we won, but we can't do this again this season.
Yeah. We talked about the ACC and how of their, 18 teams in the ACC for basketball, 8 of them had losing records overall, right? The SEC, right now, no team has a losing overall record.
I was about to ask, is there anybody?
No.
Yeah.
And they range from 16-1 with Auburn down to 10-6 with South Carolina. So every team in the league has at least 10 wins. And it's not like every team hasn't played stiff outside competition. They all have. And now they're playing each other, so they're going to take some dings along the way. But, I mean, you've got, like, Oklahoma is 0-3, but they're 13-3 overall. Texas is 0-3, but they're 11-5. Arkansas is 0-4. Imagine that. They are 0-4. 11-6, and the Gamecocks could be 0-3, or they could become, 0-4. They could become 1-3.
And the Gamecocks have 2 wins over the ACC.
That's right.
Of their 10 wins,
yeah,
2 of them are over the ACC.
No question. No question. The strength in college basketball, just like in football and baseball. I thought you'd never see this, but years ago, ACC basketball coaches were worried about what would happen with ACC basketball with all this emphasis on football, and the money and, the shifting of everything being involved with the realignment, et cetera. And, you look at the ACC coaches now compared to, say, SEC coaches up and down the line. And you'd have to say that the SEC probably has a stronger roster of coaches top to bottom.
I would agree. And let me go back. Actually, USC's got 3 wins over the over the ACC. Forgot about the victory over Virginia Tech down in Fort Myers.
But see, they're having a difficult
Boston
year.
College and
Virginia
Clemson.
Tech. Mike Young's not getting it done
right
now. And the Gamecocks have now caught up with Vanderbilt 56-56, a 7-0 run over the last 246 for the Gamecocks, a scoring drought of 322 for Vanderbilt. So heading down the home stretch, 5 minutes to go, the Gamecocks somehow, some way, even with their 22 turnovers. I mean, my God, they're going to have like half as many turnovers as they're going to have points pretty much by the time this thing is over. But you never know. They're making their free throws. They're 14 of 17 from the line. They're shooting 50% in the second half, so they're trying to overcome. They're perfect from the line in the second half, 6 for 6. Okay, we'll be back in a moment.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is right around the corner here in the Palmetto State. As you get ready for this spring and summer, make sure your registration sticker is up to date and you have a copy of your registration card on board your boat. For more information on boat registration and answers to common questions, visit dnr.sc.gov.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're looking to grow your business, Sports Talk is here to help. I'm Matt Smith, and in addition to reporting for Sports Talk, I'm in charge of helping business owners make the most of our statewide platforms. Whether you're a small business owner or part of a large company operating here in the Palmetto State, we'd love to hear about your business. Sports Talk has a track record of delivering results to our partners, and it's probably more affordable than you think. Our network of affiliates shows us the flexibility to work with budgets of all sizes, and our statewide coverage means that whether you're in Greenville, Orangeburg, Chesterfield, Charleston, Woodruff, or somewhere in between, your future customers are listening to Sports Talk. Every business has a story, and we want to hear yours. It's our mission to serve this state, and that means finding success together. Please email us at sportstalkmedianetwork@gmail.com or contact us through our website, sportstalksc.com.
Just had to explain, Chris, to the youngster, the rookie over here. He goes, "Why does that court look so big?" There at Memorial Gym. See, Memorial Gym at Vanderbilt, for those who don't know, it wasn't built for basketball purposes. It was built for the theater and opera purposes like decades ago. Of course, they made it into it's a 15,000-seat arena. Yeah. And the benches are in the end zone. The teams sit in the end zone. I guess it's the only place in college basketball where you have the benches in the end zones.
For the record, I don't talk like that.
No, I wasn't impersonating you. Oh, you mean when I said, how did I say it? What did I say?
Go ahead.
Why is the gym so big?
Why are the benches on the end zone?
It's a huge. When Vanderbilt is good, and it's been a while since they were really, really good.
Yeah.
But when they are good, that's a really hard place to go play. First off, it's so bizarre and different from anything else. Now, fortunately, over the years, they've allowed the coaches to walk up the sideline a little bit further than they used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I can remember years ago, the coaches basically had to stay on the baseline. And that's just a really hard deal to handle, especially in the first half when your team's on the other end of the floor offensively. But, it's really hard to hear in there because the acoustics, as you pointed out, I mean, it's an older building. But, yeah, when they are good, that's a tough place. And then, of course, the sight lines and everything else is unusual.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times for games. The interesting thing, if you've never been to Nashville or to Vanderbilt for an athletic event, And, Gamecocks go there regularly. Clemson's been there for baseball, maybe even played basketball there in the past. But they have their 3 major facilities, their gym, their baseball stadium, their football stadium. They're all kind of tucked into a corner. You literally can walk from one to the next in about 30 seconds. You come out of the gym, and the baseball stadium is right there. You can go from the door of the Memorial Gym to the door of the baseball stadium in like 10 seconds, and the football stadium is right there with it. Now, they are doing major renovations to their football stadium, and it's going to be much nicer. They're kind of bowling it in, I believe, as I was there for the game this past season. I think they're bowling in one end of it that had been open, so that should add a little something. They kind of believe in Coach Lee and Clark Lee there and what he's doing. They don't believe that this past season was an anomaly with some wins and a bowl trip. I think they think that they've got something brewing. Meantime, in that gym, 58-56, 3.5 minutes to go, Vanderbilt has taken a 2-point lead on the Gamecocks coming out of that media timeout. So this one is going down to the wire. Update some other basketball for you around the state and around the SEC and around the SEC as well. Let me update my scoreboard here. There we go. Upstate is leading Asheville 63-62. 12:38 to go. Make that 12:28 to go in that one. Winthrop 41. Boy, got some tight games everywhere. Winthrop 41. Make that 43-39 over Charleston Southern. 17:20 to play. Stanford 47-44 on Wake Forest with 10:07 to play. North Carolina leading Cal 39-29 at the half. Isn't that so cute? Isn't it cute, Chris? You got Stanford and Cal both playing tonight on Tobacco Road. I just think that's so sweet.
You don't think the ACC planned that, do you?
I mean, you think they – don't you think – I mean, you think they flew on the same plane? That would make sense.
I doubt that. Huh? Yeah, it would be because they're not that far away, if I'm not mistaken. They're both Northern California schools, right?
Well, I mean, they're like 20 miles from each other. Mm-hmm. Palo Alto is right outside of San Francisco. Or Berkeley. Berkeley and Palo Alto, San Francisco, those are all, close together. But you're probably right. They probably didn't fly together. NC State is leading Virginia Tech 45-34. Let's see. Wofford, which has gotten red hot, going for their 4th SoCon win, 46-34 over Chattanooga. East Tennessee State is leading Furman 36-35. That's at the half. That Wofford game was also at the half. And Greensboro is leading the Citadel late in the first half, 34-26. Still to come, Georgia at Tennessee, SMU at Virginia, Pittsburgh at Florida State, and Texas at Oklahoma gets the preferred 10 o'clock Eastern time tip tonight out at Norman. Okay, so there you go. And now it's 58-58. Give me your prediction. Will the Gamecocks pull this one out?
The basketball savant in me, since you used that term earlier and I liked it, I want to rehash it, says no, because you should not win a game in which you turn it over 23 times. The "see, I told you so" side of the coin will be that the Gamecocks find a way. Yeah. At the end, they'll figure out something. CMB will have a tip in as the horn expires to win it like 61-60. And the turnovers that we've talked about the entire ball game will not matter at all, because they end up winning on the scoreboard. They have played better in the second half after clearly the worst half of basketball they could have possibly played in the first 20 minutes.
Well, you could say that they're owed one after Pringle missed those 2 free throws. I wonder if there's enough Gamecock fans in the arena there to make a difference in the Gamecocks' favor.
I wouldn't think so.
I kind of doubt it.
I don't think this is going to be a repeat of Auburn.
I kind of doubt it. 59-58 Vanderbilt. Looking at some of the Gamecock scoring numbers, interesting, the leading scorer is Morris Ugasuk. Boy, has he really improved. He's got 17 points. He's got 2 threes, 5 free throws, couple of rebounds, couple of assists, 4 turnovers. Zach Davis has got 5 of their turnovers. Ugasuk's got 4, and Murray Boyles has got 4. Pringle's got 3. Pringle hasn't had a good night. You mentioned the foul trouble. Only 3 points for him. He hasn't made a field goal. You know, how ironic. All his points coming at the foul line. How ironic is that? And then you got Conyers once again off the bench. He's got 10 points, 3 of 8 shooting from him. We mentioned Cam Scott's gotten some time. 13 minutes on the floor. He's gotten 5 points for him, 2 of 5, including a 3. So he's making a contribution. And but 2 of your starters, this is where you have a problem with Pringle and Davis. 2 of your starters, between them, they've got 6 points. You got to get more from your starters and from 2 of your starters than that. At least you hope to.
And 8 turnovers between those 2.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not good. Edwards for Vanderbilt, that would be Jason Edwards. He leads Vanderbilt with 13 points, and with 10 points is A.J. Hoggard, 59-58. Vanderbilt leading with 2:07 to play in this one. So I don't know if there'll be any audio available from Lamont Paris right away after the game. But if some does become available, we'll put it up on our website.
Oh, boy, I'd love to hear what he has to say about this game.
Yeah, he's not obviously going to be happy with turnovers. But you know what he'll say? I predict that should they find a way to win, or even if they lose closely, he'll talk about the turnovers being a mess, but how his guys, obviously they have fought and scrapped and clawed to keep themselves in this ball game. You know, they're only down 1. They're going to have a chance. Now they're down 2. They're still going to have a chance.
2 free throws.
Who did?
CMB would have put them in front.
And he missed 2?
He missed 2. Yep.
So now I don't know if we're ahead of you or you're behind. Or we're at 60-50. Now we're at 61-50.
Yeah, it would have been 60-59 before Vanderbilt's at the foul line. Now,
no, they've already
with the 2 misses by Murray Boyles.
They've already gone to the foul line. We're ahead of you.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Before Vanderbilt went to the foul line and just hit 2, Colin Murray Boyles missed 2.
Yeah.
Prior to that, so
Gotcha.
The Gamecocks would have been up 60-59 before they went to the foul line.
Oh, but they just tied it on a 3 by Ugasuk. Ugasuk's having the game of his life. Career high 20
really
points.
Is.
And 61-61 with 90 seconds to go. All right, so tomorrow night we'll be in Greenville with the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association. Scott Early got a big event going on there at the Hyatt. We should have Mike Morgan with us tomorrow night if he's not caught traveling somewhere. He was on the call of that. How about that Florida game last night? That was a dandy.
Yeah, there were some really good games in the SEC last night, at least matchup-wise.
Mike was on that call. Yeah, he was on that call, so we can get more of his thoughts on that game and other games around the ACC and around the country. In our final moments tonight, let me check and see if there's anything on our text line to mention that's any good. Josh is saying no, and I agree. There's nothing there. How about on our other text messages? Anything worth mentioning there? Hey there, Eddie. And hello, Ray. Ray's got something to complain about, of course. Eddie says that he lives between Conway and Loris. All the traffic that comes off of 74 from Lumberton and 95 through there, and they get on 410 headed to the beach, and the roads are beat to death. So let's fix the roads down there for Eddie.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Hey, Chris, you got a game tomorrow night, huh?
I do. Georgia Southern and Coastal. Should be fun tomorrow night.
You enjoy, and thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow night here on Sports Talk.